down, yelling out money, anything. Ayy, ooh, got the foot on the gas, pedal to the metal when I'm getting to the back. Ayy, got the foot on the gas, pedal to the metal when the lane moving fast. Ayy, ayy, let them all cross. If they hate, then let them hate and make a bigger boss. Ayy.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Podcast, the top podcast in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines. But most importantly, you guys provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. This is the real side of freight, ladies and gentlemen. And I say that before every single show. And what I mean by that is I only speak with transportation professionals, because at the end of the day, I want to talk to the right individuals who have done what you're looking to do or who are currently doing what you're trying to achieve. So you can take that information, apply it, utilize it, and see a meaningful difference in your business and your life. Happy Tuesday, everybody. I know some people just are completely out of whack with their schedules and everything with the holidays here, but nonetheless, you guys, I wanted to jump on here one more time. This is officially our last show of the year. But I wanted to talk about something, kind of in relation to what we were talking about yesterday, and kind of like reinventing yourself and everything else with, with my journey and, sobriety and everything. And, but like today, I wanted to touch more on like time management. I haven't met one person who hasn't came out with, new year, new me, right? Who hasn't came out with something about wanting to get better, wanting to sell more, wanting to do something different than what they currently are. And, I was that for a very, very long time, right? For the overwhelming majority of my life, probably 36 years of the 39 years I've been alive, I've had that thought out there. And I want to discuss time management today because, we've all heard the same saying, we all have the same 24 hours and we all have the same this and that and everything under the sun. And I think a fatal error a lot of people make, and I put myself at the front of this list for the majority of my life, is I try and change too much too quick. I think that we have to look at it as like, yeah, sometimes radical change is required. But I would like to take a small incremental change approach to a lot of this, because these are the principles that I've used to drop and keep off the weight. I've applied it in my health, working out. I've applied it in my business as well. It's what I've used to build a couple of companies now that are pretty, growing. They're successful on paper and everything. And we're doing good things out there, but it's these little changes that I've implemented inside of my day instead of going from that 0 to 100, like, well, just to use my health, for example, like at my peak, I was like 260 pounds. I'm at like 182 to 185 right now. And I've been at that weight for a while now because I've made small incremental changes to my routine because I had to rewire everything. And as we're going into this next year here, I'm going to talk about just a couple of things that I think are very beneficial to make those changes, but most importantly, stick with that system out there. So first and foremost, I'm going to go over what I do every single day. I get up at the exact same time every single day. It doesn't matter if it's a weekday, weekend, it's around the exact same time, but especially during the week, I get up, my alarm goes off at 3 a.m. every single weekday. Do you need to do this? Absolutely not. This just works with my schedule. Because I needed to build a structure. That was one thing that was lacking for a very long time in my life is a structure. So the structure that I follow is I get up at that 3 a.m. every single day. I'm at the gym at 4 o'clock every single day. And then I'm at my desk at 6:30 a.m. every single day. I'm out in Arizona and everything starts out east and works its way west out there. So I'm at my desk at 6:30 a.m. every single day. I use that first 30 minutes of my day to reply to emails, to DM people, to reply to messages, anything, text, stuff like that. I do that for the first 30 minutes of my day. And by the time 10 o'clock Eastern time rolls around, and for the majority of the year, we're on Pacific time in Arizona. So by that 10 o'clock hour Eastern time, that's when I start my cold call power hour. So for that 60 minutes of the day, I am going to make as many cold calls as I possibly can to make sure that I hit my sales goal or my sales call goal, which is at this time, it's 30 calls a day. depending on how many people actually answer their phone, I can get like 20 of those done in that first hour. And then from that time, I transfer it over to my podcast, right? So I go live at 10:30 Central every single weekday. So from that 10 o'clock Central to 11:30 Central, I'm working on my podcast. And that is, I'm out there, I'm trying to procure guests. Then for those 30 minutes, I'm preparing for the show. If I have a guest that I've never talked to, I'm going over any last minute notes. I'm checking up on the topic that we're covering to see if there was any breaking news overnight or anything like that. So I'm prepared for that 30-minute live show. And then after that live show is done, from 11 o'clock to 11:30 Central, I'm jumping in and I'm, getting my show sent off to my team who's going to do all the edits and everything else. And then I'm out there, I'm trying to procure guests. I'm sending over anything to my guest that was on the show that day. And I'm just getting everything buttoned up before I transition back into brokerage at that time. Now, I'm able to do this because I have a system in place. My business partner in regards to the brokerage, he's handling the day-to-day work out there. He's quoting our current customers. He's booking our trucks. He's setting appointments. He's doing all of that stuff. He's on the operational side of things. And my focus is on the sales side of things. So that is what I do. And that's why I'm able to jump around like this. And then again, behind the scenes for this show, I have people who edit everything. They distribute my content now. They do a lot more of that legwork than I'm used to. Because as everything has grown, I've expanded out my like what I do, and I've taken stuff off my plate because revenue generating activities is my sole focus, and I follow the exact same boring system every single day. Now, everything that we're going to talk about on today's show isn't going to win you any awards. It's not going to go viral because most people don't believe me when I say this, right? Like they think that it's like there's got to be more. There's got to be something different. And I felt that way for a long time too. And it couldn't be further from the truth. I have mastered the monotonous, boring tasks that a lot of people want to overlook. And I just focus on those every single day. And that is what I think, like with a lot of us out there, there's a lot of great free tools. Use your Google Calendar, set reminders in your cell phone, do whatever it is you got to do and attach it to whatever goal or whatever thing you want to change in your business or your life. Get all of that done and just digitize it inside of your phone, right? So it's like, my cold call power hour, I have that blocked off in my calendar. Like it has to be a big deal to get me off of that for that hour. Just like when I start my day, there's only a handful of people I will take a phone call from or reply to a message during those first couple hours of my day, because like that's my time, right? Like that's when I'm going out there. And again, you have to be as close to me as humanly possible for me to even reply to you during that time. Otherwise, I'm kicking that off down the curb because again, I've prioritized certain things throughout my day to make sure I stay on task. So I don't know anybody that's in business or in transportation that is out there that doesn't want to add new shippers, right? Or maybe they want to grow their current book of business, but they can never stay on task because that's the thing. A lot of people want to make changes. They just don't take the necessary steps to do it. They go 0 to 100 with stuff, So it's like, if you're going into 2026, say this is the year that you're actually going to take your health seriously. And if you're like me, and you're close to 40 and you haven't yet, it's going to start getting you. And to any of the younger individuals out there that are listening to this show, whether it's live or on the recording, you need to start taking your health seriously because it's the only thing of actual value in your life out there. But start with one area, okay? And, say you have no money. Say you got nothing, right? You don't have $1 to your name, but you have a dry erase board, for example, because this is how I started with my business and like structuring out my time. I had a dry erase board. I got it at Walmart, right? It was a couple bucks. I just drew out my daily schedule out there, all right? 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. every single day. And it was hour blocks. And I just wrote stuff on my calendar about what I was going to accomplish during that time. Again, very low tech. You can use your cell phone. I'm sure there's some free app out there that you can use to structure your day with, but you need to put a plan in place and you have to start somewhere. So as somebody who, and we're going to talk about this a lot more on Friday's show, about like the health aspect of things. But, I just look at it as you got to start in one area. So we're going to focus on business though today. We're going to focus on making your sales calls today. I think too many people think that you got to go in and make 100 calls every single day. And that's what burns a lot of people out. They just don't stick with it long enough. I'm a firm believer in starting with, I call it like the add 5 mentality. This is how I've trained up my staff on it and people on my team is we're going to start and you're going to block time off, and it's going to be, you're going to have that minimum threshold, right? So it's like, if you're starting out here and we got to structure out our day, you're going to come in, you're going to handle all of your work, right? And we're going to take this approach as you don't have anybody that you work with. You're a solopreneur. Maybe you're working in a cradle to grave model out there. You're an independent freight agent, and you need to make sales calls. You need to do business development, but you have freight to manage as well. So from my perspective, if I was going about that, again, like I said, whatever your start time is, start at the exact same time every single day. Maybe that's your first win. Maybe, you tell yourself, oh, hey, I'm going to get to my desk at 6:30 a.m. every single day, but, dips into 7:30, everything else. You got every excuse under the sun, right? I got kids too. We got all this stuff out there that's keeping us away from this, but you have to build that structure. You have to get that first win. That might be, again, getting to your desk every single day at 6:30 a.m. Use that first 30 minutes. Update your customers, reach out to your current customers, call your drivers, receivers, whatever it is. Focus those first 30 minutes of your day just on operations. Okay, get in there and do that. We're talking about a cradle to grave model here, or you're an independent freight agent. Use those first 30 minutes straight for your current customers, your current freight that you're moving. Handle that. Then maybe you got to block it in to where it's like you can only do 15-minute increments of cold calls, because again, depending on your response time to your customers, you want to get back after a certain amount of time. So maybe it's 15 minutes. You start like that, or you tell yourself, I'm going to make 5 calls and then I will check my email. So I would go as far as going in, pull up 5 numbers, whatever your lead generation software is, or your CRM, shout out Sales Dash. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. But again, pull up those 5 numbers that you're going to call. So you're going to sit down 30 minutes of your day. First 30 minutes is going to be on your current freight. Step number 2, upload 5 phone numbers. I personally do this every single day. I use Google. I put the phone numbers in Google. I want to have those company websites up. So when I call them, if I get them on the phone, I want to have a meaningful conversation with them. So do that and then start there. Make 5 calls. All right, rock them out. The reality is, you guys, of those 5 calls, none of them are probably going to answer the phone. So you're going to go to voicemail. And then after you make those 5 calls, then go back and check your email. All right, make sure if and go through, reply to any quotes, anything that comes through. But the reality is, you're probably not getting any emails during that time, especially when you're building stuff up. So we're going out there, and then again, you take that 15 minutes, you make those 5 calls, you check your email, and then voila, there's nothing there. All your loads are still running on time. There's no updates that you need to make. So then you preload another 5 calls. All right, rock those 5 calls out until they're done. Then go back and check your email. All right. And then this is like a rinse and repeat. This is something that you can follow every single day, but set that metric, right? Set that number. What is that KPI? The only KPI I pay attention to is outbound activities. All right. To me, I know some people are KPI'd on talk time and everything else. I am only on actual outputs. That's all I KPI on. So for me, maybe that number for you, choose a number that you can actually hit, because there's a lot of mentality. There's a lot of like mental benefits of actually achieving your goals that you set out for yourself. And it's one that's attainable. And this is always to start. All right. We will always amp it up, increase our outputs as we go, and become more and more fluid in our approach. But again, we're designing a system from nothing. I've designed a few systems from nothing. Again, all the businesses that I've started, I had 0 customers. I had 0 revenue. I had 0 anything. I had to build all of this stuff up. And these are the things that took me about 5 years to actually get down to and systemize to where I can follow that every single day. So again, you want to structure out your day, use your Google Calendar, use your cell phone reminders, do anything that you have to do to write that stuff down. And a good simple thing is and this is something that I do as well. I create, and Andy Frisella has a great podcast on this called The Power List. He's got a lot of great tools that you guys can utilize to apply to structure out your day. But like, I like to see those wins. I have those critical tasks that I accomplish. Some people do 3, I do 5 critical tasks every single day, but they're all geared towards like moving my business forward, because you're not going to get those home runs that people post about on social media every single day. If anything, you guys, if you're a sports fan at all, it's like a lot of bunts and a lot of strikeouts almost every single day for a very, 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 very long time. And even when you start getting some success, that's how it is. Not everybody's going to want to talk to you. All right. But you have to show up with as much enthusiasm as possible every single day to keep moving that needle forward. And there's something about that mental side of like seeing that you're winning every single day that keeps that motivation to show back up going, right? That discipline. I've talked about that a lot on the show. I'm all about the disciplines and developing it. And that's why it's like, for me, it's those small incremental changes, because you're always going to get pulled in a different direction, especially when you're managing your own book of business, you're booking trucks. Like, I literally just won a load right now, you guys, that just came through my email that I just saw. But I'm on the show. All right. I'm paying attention to you guys. Fortunately, I have people behind the scenes that are going to book the truck. The truck's already going to be booked and dispatched by the time I'm done with this podcast out here. But if you don't have that, then again, that's one of those critical things that you got to stop doing what you're doing, because you got to service that revenue. But it's not as consistent as you think it is, because if it is that busy, if you are that busy every single day and your goal is to grow and scale your operations, you should be hiring somebody at that time to split and grow. You should be having somebody come in and help you manage your business so you can focus in on sales. Or you know what? Maybe you're an operations individual. Maybe you went out on your own. You love operations. You love managing the accounts. You just don't like hunting for that business. Then maybe at that time, you have somebody come in because you want to grow that is out there, and you're putting that cold outreach out every single day. But to me, it's all about the structure, and it's all about making small, meaningful changes into your book of business that move that needle forward. That doesn't stop, because there's more than likely, if you're actually making the calls, if you're actually servicing the customers, you're experiencing success, right? Like, you think you're a lot more busy than you really are. I know I did. I know I thought I was extremely busy, but busy isn't effective. All right. Not every day. And if you're out there and you know what, you have your goal, say, you know what, we'll start here. Say your goal is you want to just make 6 figures, right? You want to have a book of business in freight where it pays you $100,000 a year. And if you're there, that's great. But that freight's not always going to be guaranteed, right? Like, you could probably look at your P&L and you could see like, hey, there's a couple of seasonal dips out there that happen. How do I backfill that business? How do I get another customer to where it's like I can add a little bit more freight on, but it's not going to drive me away from actually, servicing my accounts? And again, it's all about that structure and to tie in Sales Dash. And again, Sales Dash is not an advertiser on my show at all. I'm a customer of theirs. It is the best $70 a month we spend in our business, because it keeps me on task. Because as you grow, right, as you start onboarding customers, you need to stay on top of your prospects, because that is one area of improvement that we saw in our business this year. All right. Like, we were very grateful. We grew. We had 70% growth this year. And I'm not saying this to brag. I'm saying this, but like, we also found those gaping holes in our operation where we missed a lot of opportunities. We had quality conversations, but we never followed up. So implementing a CRM into our business has been a godsend. All right. Because it keeps me on task. I'm taking very detailed notes of the people that I'm talking to. If they're telling me, hey, we're good right now, call me in 3 months, I'm able to go in there and set that reminder for 3 months from now, got those detailed notes, in there. And then in 3 months from now, I'm going to follow back up with them. All right. So it's like, for me, it's like there's great tools out there that you can implement into your business to fill the structure. You have to build your own structure though. And it's very easy to sit back and be like, oh, I'm busy. I'm busy right now. I don't have time for that. You have time. You have a lot more time than you think. You just haven't developed your day to where you're actually going to do the work, and you haven't set a number that you will actually follow up with and make. All right. Because it's easy to say, I want to make 100 calls. It's easy to say, I'm going to make 50 calls when you're motivated. Are you going to show up and hit that arbitrary number? Again, I'm not going to do this stuff for you guys. I chose 30 in a day because I found that 30 calls in a day is a very effective number to hit every single day, especially when you have multiple things going on. Because again, we all have stuff that we think is a lot more, busy and important than it really is. But if you start writing down what your critical tasks are in association and correlation to your goals, you're going to realize you only have a couple of things that you truly need to do every single day, depending on the phase of your business. So I'm just going to go off of where my business is. 3 of the most critical tasks I need to do every single day are make 30 cold calls, send 10 follow-up emails, because when I'm using my CRM, that's about the cadence that I've developed. Because when I call somebody, if I get them on the phone, they're going to say, send them an email. And then I'm going to send them an email, and then I got to follow up with them. So based on the leads that I've uploaded that I'm currently going after, I do about 10 sales emails every single day. And then my third one is out of those 10 emails, I choose 2 of them to curate personalized videos for. Use your cell phone. But again, those are those 3 critical tasks that I will do without fail. My 4th critical task that I do is I try and stay on top, because I curate all of my own podcasts and my guests. So I try and stay on top of that every single day, where I just reach out to 2 people, right? It might be I text an old guest, I email an old guest, or I'm seeing somebody popping up on my feed that, you know what, I like what they're saying. I want to invite them on the show. I want to learn a little bit more about it. But I found those, that one is my 4th one. And then a 5th one that I'll do every single day is kind of like rotating. A lot of it might be, hey, follow up with this person that you haven't talked to, or it might be business related, right? Hey, reach out to your CPA to schedule taxes, check in with your bookkeeper, have them send over your P&L. It'll be something along those lines. But I have my core 4 tasks all geared towards moving that needle forward. Make 30 cold calls, number 1. Number 2, send 10 sales emails. Number 3, create 2 sales videos to send out to prospects. And then number 4, find it's something podcast related. And I like, some days, you guys, I get all this stuff done before noon. And then I don't take that time to F off for the rest of the day. And you can, right? Like do whatever you want. But again, what you do is after you go through this process enough, what you start to realize is you get more efficient with your time. And when you become more efficient with your time, that's when you add a little bit more on, right? That's why I'm a big, like I was saying earlier, that add 5 mentality. Maybe now, and then again, this is probably going to happen for me this year. I just add 5 more calls on, right? I'm not going from 30 to 50. I'm going from 30 to 35. That's it. I found a way, like, hey, I'm finding myself getting done before noon, 1 o'clock every single day. I still got a couple more hours in my day. Why don't I just add 5? Add 5 more calls on, or, interject whatever your goals are that you're trying to accomplish. But again, you need to build out your day. And then here's one thing that I found that could be a very time-saving event for you guys. I have a rule. I am the only one who will put meetings on my calendar. I will not. I stopped doing this a few years ago, and I probably freed up at least 15 hours a week worth of time, because everybody wants to set hour meetings. Okay. I don't have time for that. And realistically, I don't even talk to my wife for an hour at a time. And if I'm not going to talk to my wife for an hour at a time during my workday, I'm not going to talk to you for an hour at a time. Depending, again, very dependent, but you know what I mean, right? Like there's a lot of people out there who just want to waste your time to talk about just meaningless shit. Like when you're in those days, you have those prime revenue producing hours. And I'm going to go out there. I'm going to control my calendar. If I've never talked to you before, first call, here's my rule. If I've never talked to you, or if you're not being introduced to me by somebody who I trust, that's in my circle, 15-minute max. We're going to go on there. If we can't get what we're trying to accomplish in 15 minutes, we shouldn't be talking. Okay. People that I know, warm introductions, maybe we met at a conference, we've actually had an interaction before, 30 minutes. All right. It's a 30-minute max. Heck, you can even go 25-minute max out there. And then again, if this is somebody who you've never talked to before and you're not sure, you want to see how serious somebody is, schedule a call with them for 5 o'clock your time, local, 5 p.m. local. If they're serious about wanting to talk to you, they will do it. But what you'll find is a lot of people want to fill up their calendars with your time. And how does that benefit your revenue? If you're constantly being pulled, again, that's what I was saying earlier about there's a difference between being busy and being effective. And that's what you need to do. My time, my goal, our goal for 2026, you guys, is to hit $10 million in revenue. We are going to 10x our business in 2026. I cannot fill my calendar with non-revenue producing activities during my peak work hours if I'm going to achieve that. Okay. So it's like, as we're going out there, you don't need to listen to another podcast. I know I don't need to listen to another podcast. I don't need to listen to another audiobook. I know exactly what I need to do. I need to become more streamlined with my time. I need to become more disciplined with my time. And I'm going to do that because my goal is $10 million in top line revenue for 2026. That is what we are going to achieve. I cannot do that if my time is constantly bogged down with non-revenue producing activities that are out there. And I think if a lot of us applied stuff like that, it's going to be more beneficial for you. So as we're going in there, you guys structure your day. Choose goals that you're actually going to hit, whether it's 20 calls in a day, 30 calls in a day, that's for you to decide. Set cold call power hours that are out there. All right. And then if you have that, if you're a solopreneur, if you're a cradle to grave, you're an agent, whatever that looks like, block off your time to where it's like, 30 minutes of the day, hitting up my current customers. I'm going to preset 5 calls. I'm going to make 5 calls and I'm not going to touch my email or look at my texts or anything until those 5 calls are done. Because the reality is the majority of people aren't going to pick up. And if they do, it's going to go to voicemail. Everything else, whatever, you're going to rock out those calls a lot faster than you think. And it's going to be more than ample time to reply to any of your current customers if they reach out to you during that time frame. And then again, own your calendar. All right. If you don't know people and they want to talk to you, 15-minute calls. Start off with that. If it's a warm introduction, maybe you met them at a conference, you had a conversation with them, 30 minutes max. All right. Save those for revenue producing activities. You have to own your calendar that's going on. And again, you have to follow it day in and day out. It's going to take a very long time to feel like you're gaining any traction, but you have to do that by owning your calendar, saying no to a lot of things that you might want to say yes to. But what is your goal? How do you structure your day? And again, we all have the exact same amount of time in a day. We have to become methodical with our daily routines so we can manage our time properly to put in the proper outputs for a long enough time to actually see those results out there. But that is going to be it for today, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys got value in this. Truly, you guys, I can't thank each and every one of you enough for tuning into the show. Like the fact that it has grown year over year since we started it, the fact that you guys continue to tune into this and share it, subscribe, all the rankings, everything, you guys, I can't thank you enough. At the end of the day, you guys, this isn't my show. This is our show. All right. Plain and simple. This is our show. This is for the 90% of the industry that gets 10% of the recognition. This is for the frontline workers, the ones that are out there who are just trying to figure shit out like I am every single day to better my life, to create a better future for my family. That's who this show is for. I don't know everything, but I do know this. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you guys so much. I hope you guys have a happy and safe New Year's. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and we'll be talking to you soon.